A CNN review found including more than half of the people listed as authors. These groups also include several lawyers deeply involved in Trump's attempts to remain power. To quantify the scope of the involvement from Trump's orbit, CNN reviewed online biographies. Hello everyone, and thanks for tuning in to day 3 of Founders Month. On today's news flash, we will be discussing Trump claims not to know who is behind Project 2025. Donald Trump has lately made clear his wants little to do with Project 2025, the conservative blueprint for the next Republican president that has attracted considerable blowback in his race for the White House. I have no idea who is behind it, the former president recently claimed on social media. Many people Trump knows quite well are behind it. 6 of his former cabinet secretaries helped write or collaborated on the 900 pages playback for a second Trump term published by the Heritage Foundation. 4 individuals Trump nominated as ambassadors were also involved, along with several enforcers of his controversial immigration crackdown, and about 20 pages are credited to his first deputy chief of staff. In fact, at least 140 people who worked in the Trump administration had a hand in Project 2025. A CNN review found including more than half of the people listed as authors, editors, contributors to Mandate for Leadership, the project's extensive manifesto for overhauling the executive branch. Dozens more who staffed Trump's government hold positions with conservative groups advising Project 2025, including his former chief of staff, Mark Meadows, and longtime advisor, Stephen Miller. These groups also include several lawyers deeply involved in Trump's attempt to remain in power, such as his impeachment attorney and 2 of the legal architects of his failed bid to overturn the 2020 presidential election, Cleety Mitchell and John Eastman. To quantify the scope of the involvement from Trump's orbit, CNN reviewed online biographies, LinkedIn profiles, and news clippings for more than 1,000 people listed on published directories for the 110 organizations on Project 2025's advisory board, as well as the 200 plus names credited with working on Mandate for Leadership. Overall, CNN found nearly 240 people with ties to both Project 2025 and to Trump, covering nearly every aspect of his time in politics and the White House, from day-to-day foot soldiers in Washington to the highest level of his government. The number is likely higher because many individuals' online resumes were not available. In addition to people who worked directly for Trump, others who participated in Project 2025 were appointed by the former president to independent positions. For instance, Federal Communications Commissioner Brandon Carr authored an entire chapter of proposed changes to his agency. And Lisa, an anti-abortion advocate Trump appointed as a delegate to the United States Commission on the Status of Women, is also among the contributors. Several people involved in Project 2025 didn't serve in the Trump administration, but were influential in shaping his first term. One example is former U.S. Attorney Brett Tolman, a leading force behind the former president's criminal justice reform law, who later helped arrange a pardon for Charles Kushner, the father of Trump's son-in-law. Tolman is listed as a contributor to Mandate for Leadership. The extensive overlap between Project 2025 and Trump's universe of allies, advisories, and former staff complicates his efforts to distance himself from the work. Trump's campaign has sought for months to make clear that Project 2025 doesn't speak for them amid an intensifying push by President Joe Biden and Democrats to tie the Republican standard barrier to the playbook's more controversial policies. In a statement to CNN, campaign spokesman Danielle Alvarez said Trump only endorses the Republican Party platform and the agenda posted on the former president's website. Team Biden and the Democratic National Committee are lying and fear-mongering because they have nothing else to offer the American people, said Alvarez. Behind Project 2025 is the Heritage Foundation, a 51-year-old conservative organization that has aligned itself with Trump not long after his 2016 victory. Heritage is led by Kevin Roberts, a Trump ally who the former president praised as doing an unbelievable job on a February night when they shared the same stage. Heritage conceived Project 2025 to begin planning so a Republican president could hit the ground running after the election. One of its priorities is creating a roadmap for the first 180 days of the new administration to quickly reorient every federal agency around its conservative vision. Described on his website as a movement-wide effort guided by the conservative cause to address and reform the failings of big government and an undemocratic administrative state, Project 2025 also aims to recruit and train thousands of people loyal to the conservative movement to fill federal government positions. One organization advising Project 2025, American Accountability Foundation, is also putting together a roster of current federal workers it suspects could impede Trump's plans for a second term. Heritage is paying the group $100,000 for his work. Many of Project 2025 priorities are aligned with the former president, especially on immigration and purging the federal bureaucracies. Both Trump and Project 2025 have called for eliminating the Department of Education. But Project 2025 has lately become a lightning rod for other ideas Trump hasn't explicitly backed. Within Mandate for Leadership are plans to ban pornography, reverse federal approval of the abortion pill, exclude the morning after pill, and men's contraceptives from coverage mandated under the Affordable Care Act. Make it harder for transgender adults to transition and eliminate the federal agency that oversees the National Weather Service. Its voluminous and detailed plans also run counter to Trump's desire for a streamlined GOP platform, absent any language that Democrats could wield against Republicans this cycle. Roberts recently faced backlash as well for saying in an interview that the country was in the process of a second American Revolution, which will remain bloodless if the left allows it to be. 3 days later, Trump posted to Truth Social, "I know nothing about Project 2025. I disagree with some of the things they're saying, and some of the things they're saying are absolutely ridiculous and dismal," he wrote. In response to Trump's social media posts, a Project 2025 spokesperson told CNN in a statement it does not speak for any candidate or campaign. It is ultimately up to that president, who we believe will be President Trump, to decide which recommendations to use, the spokesperson said. Trump's campaign has repeatedly said in recent months that reports about personnel and policies that are specific to a second Trump administration are purely speculative and theoretical and don't represent the former president's plans. Project 2025 and similar policy proposals coming from outside Trump's campaign are merely suggestions. Campaign managers Susie Wiles and Chris wrote in a statement. Trump's attempts to distance himself from Project 2025 have already encountered credibility challenges. The person overseeing Project 2025, Paul Dans, was a top official in Trump's White House who has previously said he hopes to work for his former boss again. Shortly after Trump's Truth Social post last week, Democrats noted a recruitment video for Project 2025 features a Trump campaign spokeswoman. On Tuesday, the Biden campaign posted dozens of examples of connection between Trump and Project 2025. CNN's review of Project 2025 contributors also demonstrated the breadth of Trump's reach through the upper ranks of the vast network of organizations working to move the country in a conservative direction, from women's groups and Christian colleges to conservative think tanks in Texas, Alabama, and Mississippi. New organizations center around Trump's political movement, his conspiracy theories around his electoral defeats, and his first-term policies are deeply involved in Project 2025 as well. One of the advisory groups, American First Legal, was started by Miller, a key player in former Trump's immigration agenda. Another is the Center for Renewing America, founded by Russ Vought, former acting director of the Office of Management and Budget, who wrote for Project 2025 a detailed blueprint for consolidating executive power. Russ recently oversaw the Republican Party committee that drafted the new platform heavily influenced by Trump. In addition to Russ, two other former Trump cabinet secretaries wrote chapters for Mandate for Leadership: Housing and Urban Development Secretary Ben Carson and Acting Defense Secretary Christopher Miller. Three more former department heads, National Intelligence Director John Ratcliffe, Acting Transportation Secretary Stephen Bradbury, and Acting Labor Secretary Patrick are all listed as contributors. Project 2025 proposals for reforming the country's immigration laws appear heavily influenced by those who helped execute Trump's early enforcement measures. Former acting U.S. Customs and Border Protection Chief Mark Morgan and former Immigration and Customs Enforcement Chief Tom Homan, the faces of Trump's polarizing policies, contributed to the project, as did Kathy Newell, one of the policy advisors pushing to end certain immigrant protections behind the scenes. The Project 2025 chapter on overhauling the Department of Homeland Security was written by Ken, a top official at the department under Trump. Some of Trump's most continuous and high-profile hires are credited with working on Mandate for Leadership, including those whose tenures ended under a cloud of controversy. Before Trump advisor Peter went to prison for refusing to comply with the congressional subpoena as part of the House investigation into the January 6, 2021 U.S. Capitol attack, he wrote a section defending the former president's trade policies and advocating for punitive tariffs. Other contributors include Michael Pack, a conservative filmmaker who orchestrated a mass firing at the U.S. Agency for Global Media as he was installed by Trump. Frank Wuko, a senior White House advisor who once promoted far-right conspiracies on his talk radio show, including lies about President Barack Obama's citizenship. Former NOAA official David, a notable climate change skeptic investigated for posting dubious research with the White House imprint. And Mari, a wine blogger turned lobbyist who left the Trump administration amid accusations she was hunting for disloyal State Department employees. The culmination of their work spread across 900 pages, touches every corner of the executive branch, and would drastically change the federal government as well as everyday life for Americans. In summarizing the undertaking, Roberts wrote in Mandate for Leadership that Project 2025 represented the next conservative president's last opportunity to save our republic. Conservatives have just 2 years and 1 shot to get this right, Roberts said. With enemies at home and abroad, there is no margin for error. Time is running short. If we fail, the fight for the very idea of America might be lost. There you have it, guys. This one is a very interesting one, being that so many hands are being involved, the good and the bad hands, and it makes it very challenging when individuals are not being so transparent. If Trump does have something to do with this, he needs to speak up and also be honest so that the Republicans or the voters in general know why they're voting, what they're voting for, and what they can expect in the future. There's a lot of very interesting stuff in the Mandate for Leadership, aka Project for 25. Don't let that get confused, Project 2025. And we need to read it and read it good and make sure that we're understanding what is being proposed. Without doing so, it can make it hard for you in November. So just make sure that you are staying abreast and checking back in and staying informed about what is going on in the campaign rallies ahead of the election. Because your last thing that you want to be on voter day out thinking you're doing the right thing and you have voted for the wrong cause, proposal, or person. So it's better to be safe and knowing what you're going into than to be sorry and not know what you're going into. So I thank you guys for tuning in with us for day 3. Today's fun fact is, you guys ready? Today's fun fact. Boom. Did you know that the famous board game of Monopoly is from the streets of Atlantic City? If you didn't know, now that you know, Atlantic City has specific, Tennessee Avenue, Baltic, Boardwalk. All of those streets are from Atlantic City, New Jersey. Hence, Founders Month. Miss Francis is from Atlantic City, New Jersey, and she did walk the streets of your family's board game of Monopoly on the daily basis. Thank you guys for tuning in today. We will see you guys on the next one. Have a great day.